meeting, a Greenwood Together Community Stakeholder Update. Thank you for the shushes. I'm Barbara Ann with the Chamber, and we're giving our lane update and then introduce our other fellow colleagues. And I'm excited to welcome a new addition to the Chamber. We have with us today our Director of Member Services and Resource Development, Jacqueline Gilchrist. Welcome, Jacqueline. So since we last met, we have launched our Creative Energy Update, and we have worked with Creative Energy to provide our marketing resources and a campaign called Building a Lifetime in Greenwood. So Creative Energy has been working with us for at least the last 2 months in building collateral material, and started with coming out to Greenwood to do 2 special videos that we are looking to push out to the community because we need your help. We need your support to help share the very best that Greenwood has to offer. We're now competing on a national stage. We're putting out this information to different parts of the United States that we see are target areas, such as Illinois and in upstate New York. So there are 2 videos that I'm about to show, and I've been well trained here in the last 15 minutes on how to get these videos up and going. So let's see. I have to go down to the bottom here. We are Greenwood together.
Let us help you build a lifetime in Greenwood.
You'll have to minimize that.
Minimize it. Okay.
There you go. And then double click on the industrial.
Hello, I'm Barbara Ann Hegan, President and CEO of the Greenwood, South Carolina Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to Greenwood County. We love Greenwood County because of the great people, the wonderful families, our strong connections to community,
and we are proud to showcase all of our great industries.
We've been part of the Greenwood community since 1967, and we continue to invest in this great community, primarily because of the able and capable and qualified workforce that exists here.
Wesley Commons continues to be a strong supporter of this community, but we consider ourselves a hospitality organization that also provides healthcare. And in doing so, we have to reach out to a very diverse group of talent. And we found that the Greenwood market provides that talent.
We're incredibly grateful to be operating our facility here in the Greenwood community. We view it as a privilege, not a luxury, and as such, we've been very pleased with the welcome that we've gotten from the community. One of the things I found here is that people cared about each other, and so it was really a great family environment and really something that I want to be a part of.
It's hard not to love living in Greenwood. It's safe, it's beautiful, we have parks, we have community theaters, we have museums, we have a beautiful lake, we have great golf courses, and great industries to promote growth for the future of our community.
I would recommend to any other company that was interested in coming to this area that this is a great area to come to. The workforce is great, they're highly educated. We have lots of different educational systems.
Piedmont Tech is the nucleus to economic development in the Greenwood area.
We're working very diligently with our colleges and our Chamber of Commerce to ensure that the individuals that are being graduated into our workforce are talented, have the right set of skills for the jobs that we offer.
We meet with business and industry regularly to make sure that we are offering them exactly what they say that they need.
3,500 Lander University graduates work and live in our community. They're in banks, they're in schools, they're in hospitals, they're in lawyers' offices, all throughout our county.
Greenwood's actually a great place. We're close to a lot of different things with a lot of different diversity. Just locally here, you can be right out at Lake Greenwood, or you can be out hunting, or you can go to the mountains, which is about 3 hours away, or possibly even to the beach, which is about 3.5 hours away. So it's really well situated in a lot of different ways.
Greenwood is centrally located in the upstate between two largest cities, which you have Atlanta and Charlotte, but also it's a community that's growing. We try to be involved as much as we can in the Greenwood County area, and we even have a local dog park.
So we have Greenwood together now. We like the coordinated approach of all the different entities in town, but we have been so supported by our county council over the years, as well as all the other government agencies. So I would highly recommend coming to Greenwood.
Greenwood community has been and continues to be a great partner for Lonza.
Most of our residents move from somewhere else. And if we want to continue to attract that type of person, we need to continue to evolve as a community. And Greenwood has done a phenomenal job doing so.
I'm James Bateman, Economic Development Director in Greenwood County, South Carolina. We're here today at the North Greenwood Industrial Park, nearby companies like Colgate-Palmolive, Caterpillar, Eaton Corporation, and Diana Pet Food, who have all found a home here in Greenwood that has been fortunate to have investment from international companies from Switzerland, Denmark, France, and Germany, Ireland, and Japan that have all come to Greenwood, a community rich in textile heritage that's become a manufacturing powerhouse in life sciences, advanced materials, food processing, and wood products. Contact me to learn more about our available industrial sites like the North Greenwood Park and our county-owned spec building, and why your company too can find a home here in Greenwood.
We are Greenwood together. Let us help you build a lifetime in Greenwood.
So those two videos showcase the very best of Greenwood County. It was an honor for me to be able to work on that because it did show me the true collaboration and spirit of the business community. And to now take that story and share it with other communities, with other areas that we know are high tax areas, that we're seeing people leave in droves. One of the area that we have identified is in upstate New York, Rochester, Wayne County, and another is in Illinois. So as we try to take segments and target these audiences, we are using social platforms.
You have to click from current slide there.
Current slide. And thank you, Mr. Fish, for all your help. Appreciate you.
From current slide, the one that's on the left.
Current slide, there you go. So we have now launched social platforms on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And we are in the process of building our followers and also building our content. We recognize we're trying to ramp up our social media posts and gathering more information from our investors, as well as working very closely with the county on some of their announcements of new projects. We have a social media calendar that has been developed, and they're looking to have 2 posts per week for Facebook and 3 posts per month on LinkedIn. And 4 additional calendars will be developed, and I'm actively working with them now on photos and gathering information from our investors. And here's some of the sample postings that have already gone out, really talking about some of the great places to work, showcasing, for example, self-regional healthcare, looking at our colleges, that people coming here to Greenwood, they are well educated between Piedmont Technical College and Lander University. So really talking about 35.3% of Greenwood's population has advanced degrees, and success begins with education. And on that, I will turn this over to our Chair for Workforce Development, Jim Medford, who will talk a little bit about our focus areas and where we are to date. So, Mr. Medford.
Good afternoon. This is, I think, our 3rd key stakeholder meeting since we kicked off the Workforce Development Committee, an initiative, and it's been actually 1 year, just this past month. And to talk about the monumental task and effort that has gone to it in a short period of time would be an understatement. We started off by meeting with every key business, large, small, medium, to talk about their needs, what their challenges were. We also asked for their financial support on this initiative, because this is what we're doing here. There is a price tag to get our name out there, a marketing price tag. And without exception, we received tremendous support from all the companies that you saw in the video and many, many more. So we started off by trying to break this big topic down into several different areas. One was manufacturing. One was small business and food service. One was education and training, and nonprofits were involved, and government, county and state. So we all worked together, and there was about 7 people on each committee. They were given 3 topics to explore, and those were current needs, because a year ago at this time, we were really coming out of the COVID scenario, and it was hard pressed to find a restaurant that was fully staffed, that could even be open every day or on days at all. So we started attacking that one right off the bat. And so we had a job fair at the market for our restaurants, and we started down that path. So after the current needs, then it was the transformational needs. And that is, to me, I called that planting the seed for our next group of workforce. And then the final one was the transformational overall quality of life here in Greenwood, because we do have a lot of areas that have an opportunity now to join the workforce and make beyond livable wages, because the wages have been increasing significantly. And we wanted to take any barrier away from those people being able to be a part of who we all are in the workforce. And that's a pretty big number in parts of our area. So since that time, after all of that, we had, if you can imagine, 7 committees, 3 meetings each. Then we broke that down to a action working committee where we consolidated the 7 into 1. And so far we've had over 2 meetings with that. We've had CEO roundtables for all those that had invested in this to give them an update on where we are and what we've done. So our most current update is what I'm going to speak back about now. One is, and I give Barbara Ann a lot of credit for this, there was a software system that she used in upstate New York that tracked real-time job openings and job postings. But it also gives you some microeconomic trends of what's going on in the area, such as where the wages, are they rising, are they falling, what's the average wage, what's the unemployment rate, what's the open job position. So there's a lot of very meaningful information that our business partners can now tap into and see real-time information. And that is, that website is JobsEQ. It's up on our Greenwood Together website, lists all open positions. When I first stepped in, and we talked about this at our first meeting, we had well over 2,000 open positions here in Greenwood, all levels. Today, based on, now we have a website and a software system that can give us exact numbers. And we now have currently right around 1,300 open positions. So progress has been made. And I think that number is trending down in a pretty measurable way right now until James comes up and talks behind me. So the areas of focus that we needed to look at that would open up any barrier for any person to work, take a job and work at one of our industry partners or businesses here in Greenwood. Those are, of course, recruitment and retention of staff. Thus, the videos that Barbara Ann showed. Thus, the fact that we're doing direct marketing to areas that there is a migration from. The other, and retention is another one. We've talked at length with our business partners because it's one thing that when salaries are rising for people coming in and they're signing bonuses and everything else, we cannot forget the people, the backbones of the companies that have been there and loyal. So the retainment focus has got to be there as well. And we have very good businesses here in Greenwood. And they recognize that, and they're all addressing it in their own ways to make sure. And we didn't even really have to talk much about it because they already knew that they needed to do what's right and what's true and what's fair. The next one is transportation. We cannot have transportation being a hindrance for somebody coming to work. So we're developing a public-private funding source. We looked at pilot van pools that can target certain areas as far as people getting to another area to transport them to work. And that one is being well embraced by our industry partners for a funding source. And of course, the MAT Trans that the Greenwood County Council put forth, which is the public transportation arm. And that has been expanded out. The circumference of the city has expanded out to now cover many of our major employers outside of the city. Childcare is a significant issue and opportunity. We had many industries where their staff were leaving, females were leaving to have children, and they had to be out for whatever period of time, and many of them did not come back. So childcare is huge. So we're raising the awareness of childcare needs to provide extra childcare slots for infants and toddlers, but also just overall childcare. We're working with Piedmont Tech, who's also looking at doing some pilot programs at the campus there and other campuses they have throughout the area, Seminole County area that they serve. We also see it as a business opportunity for many small entrepreneurs to be able to come in and open up a child care center because the market and the need and the business opportunity for them is significant. Attainable workforce and housing workforce. That's a mouthful. We need to create more diversified workforce housing options, and at all levels. When you have 1,300 open positions, or previously 2,000, and we're recruiting outside of Greenwood to fill many of those, they gotta have a place to live. And they have to have, whether it be apartments, townhomes, price points that they can afford, to middle management, upper management style homes. So there's not one bullet in the gun that solves the housing. It's many different levels. The Chamber recently hosted a housing summit out at the Multicultural Center in Hodges, where we had the city, Julie Wilkie sat on the committee, Dan Hobbs, which is the president of Impressa, system-built homes, the manufacturing of indoor housing, being produced indoors instead of just being on site. We had Teresa Goodman representing the Greenwood initiatives. So we had a very diverse panel and a presentation by somebody that has been successful in other areas building micro housing and community housing closer to the city. So that was very well attended, and there's a lot more work that still has to be done in that area. But right now, we have a lot of housing. You know, one thing about when you see a lot of growth, people are on both sides of the ledger at that. You know, when I've sat through at the city when there's housing proposals being made, and you know, there's pushback from some in the community over that, and understandably so. You know, we have to do this intelligently with a smart plan as far as traffic and safety and things of that nature. But nonetheless, we need housing. We cannot just sit back and not grow and be able to support who we are and where we're going as a community. So that is more to come, but that's where we stand on workforce development. A lot's been done in a reasonably short period of time so far. Thank you.
So we encourage you to please go to the Greenwood Together website. Again, the job search for all the open positions is located under Greenwood Career Opportunities, and it really is very user-friendly. It's one of the most progressive, consolidated job databases to search through. So I am trying to get the word out on behalf of the team to utilize this website. And we are looking for more of a campaign web support, again, by going to this website, by sharing it with your colleagues, by going to our social media and liking and sharing the post. That will help to bring more awareness to our campaign. We have a focus on workforce development, live, retire to Greenwood. I can speak firsthand. At the Chamber, I receive regular calls from retirees from all over the country asking for me to mail information to them. So there is a real movement to come here. The strategies of, again, as I mentioned earlier, coming from a high cost of living, the taxes, the extreme weather. I can speak firsthand. A few weeks ago in upstate New York, my family's encountered almost a foot of snow. So there's a lot to say in being here in beautiful South Carolina and in Greenwood. So please utilize the videos that have been highlighted. We're also looking at, so I mentioned Illinois, so it's actually Kane County, which is very similar to Greenwood, a lakeside community, and they're starting to see some people leaving that area. I think a lot has to do with some of their high taxes, so we're putting some of our targeting campaign in that area, as well as Wayne County in upstate New York, as I mentioned. So there's some good opportunity in also Monroe County. These are neighboring counties. And if anybody sees my video from upstate New York, they'll say, why is she competing with us? Because we, in upstate New York, we're also trying to bring people to stay there. But I think the taxes definitely has an impact, and a lot of businesses are looking to relocate to low tax areas. So on that note, we would like to turn it over to Kelly Porter to give an update on tourism. Welcome.
Thank you, Barbara. I'm here to bring y'all an update on some of the things and initiatives that we are working on with Discover Greenwood. For those of you that don't know, we are the primary destination marketing organization for Greenwood County, and we have a couple of tasks. One is to market the area to others to increase visitation, and the other one is to recruit specific events that will produce a positive economic impact. So just like all the other organizations in Greenwood together, Discover Greenwood is also about creating a positive economic impact. So my email signature says tourism is economic development, and I truly believe that. One of the things that we're working on right now is a continuation of the Stories of Greenwood campaign that we started pre-pandemic. If you go to storiesofgreenwood.com, you can see all the videos. We are working on a history component right now, and it is very, very complex because Greenwood, as you can imagine, has a ton of history. So there will be 6 individual videos. One will cover railroad history. The other one will cover Promised Land history with a few of our favorite folks involved with that one. The other one will highlight the Maze site, the 96 National Historic Site, as well as the outlying areas of Ware Shoals and Hodges and all the history that those communities offer. So we're really excited about this product. There will be a number of different videos made available to each of you. Again, I feel like these are just as good recruiting tools as some of the other things that have been produced. So we want people to use this and use these videos as a resource to help recruit visitors and new residents alike. So we're excited about that initiative. For the 7th year, Greenwood is going to be a participating community in the American Bloom program, which is a community improvement program on the national level. We will host 2 advisors in our community on June 9th and 10th. They will come and provide feedback to our community on some of the things that we can improve in different areas of their criteria. So we're very excited to host them again and to be involved as a community. Greenwood is still the only community in South Carolina that is involved on a national level. So we're excited about that. But the biggest part about this is that we are going to be hosting the National Symposium of American Bloom next September in 2023. We're going to need all hands on deck for that. Even though Greenwood will not be hosting the actual symposium, we'll be partnering with Spartanburg for obvious reasons. Our hotel conference space can't handle that many people. But we will be hosting the walking tour, and many, many volunteers are going to be needed for that. So every time you see me give an update, I'm going to mention this because we need tons of help and tons of support. And we want everyone that attends to know how proud we are of our community and how much we have to offer. We expect between 250 and 300 people from all over the United States to attend this symposium. So we're really excited about the opportunity to host a national conference. Some of the events that we've got coming up, the National Collegiate Baseball Association will be hosting their Call Club World Series at Lander University. This has been a great partnership with Lander University. We are expecting an economic impact of over $600,000 with this 1 week of baseball activity, so we're super excited about that. In June, we will be hosting the South Carolina Main Street State Conference, of which Laura Hudson and I will be part of that program. Shortly after the Festival of Discovery, we will be hosting the South Carolina Banker School once again, and that is a very big event for Greenwood. We will also be hosting, through the links at Stony Point, the American Junior Golf Association National Qualifier. This is the 4th year for that tournament, and it produces a significant impact of over $150,000 annually. And we are in year 4 of that, so we're very excited to have them back. And then in August, we will host one of the South Carolina Economic Development Association Institute classes. They will have around 60 people come to our area. And all of these events just basically mean more exposure for our community to everybody that visits. So we're super excited to have all that. Last year, we calculated that the events serviced and recruited by Discover Greenwood produced an economic impact of over $1.5 million. And our area festivals and special events, including the Festival of Flowers, Festival of Discovery, et cetera, it did over $6 million. So our total economic impact for 2021 was around $7.5 million. I can tell you now that 2022 is going to be a bigger year than 2021, and I'm very happy to tell you all that after 2 years of a little bit of downtime due to the pandemic with our tourism product. The next slide is a really exciting slide. We've been working very hard on plans to relocate our destination center. The city owns a building next door to the museum. If you're from Greenwood, you would hear it referred to as the Powell's Building back in the day. But right now, it's just a shell of a building. So a lot of work is going to be required to turn this into what we want to be the new visitor center. The estimates that we have received are just a little over $1 million. So you can tell we've got our work cut out for us to make this happen, but we're committed to do that. The photos you see on the slide are just a few of the conceptual drawings that our ad agency Design Sensory has put together for us. And it will not only include a new visitor center, but we're also hoping to develop the bottom level of that building, where Laura Hudson will hopefully have a small business incubator type area and for our retail recruitment space. So we're thinking that this is a multi-purpose building, but it's going to really, really be an asset for our community. Before I turn it over to Laura, are there any questions about what I presented? Okay. Laura Hudson?
I'm not sure about going to the basement. I'm not really excited about that. I don't know how I like people. You want to come with me to the basement, Tony?
No, I'll vote for you.
We'll talk later. I will add really quickly, one of the events Kelly didn't list it is on Monday of next week, the Greenwood High School golf team will be hosting the Upper State Golf Tournament at Vincent Stony Point, which they just qualified for yesterday. So yay, go Eagles. And from there, hopefully they'll go to state. So lots of great golf happening in our community. I'm going to share with you guys the City of Greenwood retail update. Some of the things I'll share are specifically for downtown or uptown, and some of them are for citywide. So the first thing I wanted to share is this is a community impact report that we produce every year as a national accredited Main Street community. We're required to report to the national Main Street community different statistics. And this is just a graphic that we design every year. We produced 25 new businesses in 2021. And when we calculate businesses, we calculate that from business license. So if a salon opened and there are 4 hairdressers, that's one business. So some people go, where did you get 25 businesses? And I'm saying, but it's based off the business license. But we did have several new businesses open in 2021, which created 41 new jobs. We had 9 buildings that were under construction or rehabilitation in 2021. And that totaled about $858,000 in public and private investment. The private investment, I'll tell you, a ton of that was down in the Hampton Plaza. Hugh Mosley has done some great improvements down there. You'll be seeing a lot of construction, so we're excited about that. And also that public investment that you see there was a large water main project that CPW did for us on Oregon Avenue. And that was very important for us to continue to service the businesses there in downtown. And we had about 245 volunteer hours, which includes our board of directors and some of the small events that we use volunteers for. The second piece is the City of Greenwood complete retail update. We began working in last year. We put out an RFQ, and we've reported on this several times. And we chose an agency in, I believe it was July or August of last year. And we went through the holidays very busily. So we met with them for the first time in February to begin the building inventory assessment and marketing strategy so we can truly start actively recruiting more retail to Greenwood. We chose a company called Boudreaux. You may have heard that name before. They are the company that also produced part of our master plan that the city center master plan. So we felt very confident with them that they were knowledgeable about our community. They also partnered with a company called the Retail Coach, who provides a lot of retail recruitment training and data for us, as well as CBRE, which you may be familiar with. They're a national commercial broker and real estate company. So we've been working closely with them. They will actually be back in just a couple of weeks with a draft of what we will start on for this year. It's two-year project. So for the first year, these are some of the things that we'll produce. The first thing that you see on the screen actually is we copy a lot of things from other communities. We call it R&D, not research and development, but rip off and duplicate. So the town of Florence does an amazing job, and so we work closely with them as one of the other accredited Main Street communities. But this is from their website, and this is one of the intangible pieces that we will have. You can see, I'm not sure how clearly you can see it, but they're little red dots. All of those are available properties in their downtown, and so when you hover your mouse over them, this box pulls up. It gives you all of the specs on the building. It gives you the contact information for the owner of the building. Anything you need to know, you'll find right there on that website. So this will be the end result for our downtown as well as our citywide building inventory. So we're excited to have that. That will not come until later this year, though. The second piece, and this is also from downtown Florence, is to become more of a small business resource center. What we have found is when someone wants to open a small business, they land in multiple places. They may call Barbara Ann at the chamber. They may call me. They may call the city directly. Sometimes they get to the Small Business Development Center through Clemson. So we want to make sure that when someone gets to one of those places that they're getting the same information everywhere. Right now, they come to the city office to get a business license. Then we send them down to the basement of the courthouse for their building and zoning. So we want to kind of simplify that process and maybe some type of flow chart. We're still working through that, but our website will be a true resource to direct folks that want to open a business on an easy way to do that, a simplistic way to do that. This will also contain some of the commercial incentives that we're working on. We're going to be putting together a commercial incentive packet for businesses as well, so you'll see more about that. This is an example of a property flyer that we did actually before we did this program, but we will have more of these. These actually will also be linked on the website, and these will be readily available for us to email out to people when they call looking for buildings, or when we go to trade shows, we will have those to be able to show the actual buildings that we have available when we're meeting with potential retail. This was just one that we had for Courtney Furman's building on Maxwell. It actually has already been leased, but this was just an example of what that has. And it's similar to the website, it's just more physical, tangible that we can hand to someone and leave with them. We also are hoping to work with a company that Barbara Ann and I learned about in Vegas and a training we went to called Placer.ai. And they are a mobile analytics company. And we've had a couple of demonstrations from these companies. And I think Julie can attest, it's a little scary when you start thinking about the things they know about us. They can track everything. They know where you spend the night at night by your cell phone. So everybody's we joke about being tracked, but they really can tell us a lot of things. So some of the data is very interesting, very intriguing. This was a report that we found very interesting. This was from September 2020 through August of 21. And these are visits just to our downtown. And you can see right about July the 10th of last year, that big spike. Anybody know what that might be? Barbecue Festival, of course, in downtown. And there was another little spike we weren't quite sure what it was, and that was in March. And that was the first big event we did after COVID. That was the food truck event. If y'all remember, that was a perfect storm. The weather was beautiful. People came out in droves. So this is a really good measurement for us to see when people are coming downtown and what they're coming for. So we're going to use this data. And what we have shared with the realtors in the community is that we're happy to share this data with them as well. Anytime they want us to run a report, we can do that. This next slide is also very interesting. These are the hourly visits of when people are in our downtown. And as you can see, I'm not sure how close you can see, but typically 10 o'clock in the morning it starts picking up. Around lunch it gets real busy, dips down around 3. But then if you see, there towards the end, we have people in town up until 8 o'clock at night, and most of our businesses close at 5 or 6 o'clock. So as we continue to track these things, we're going to continue to show these graphs to our businesses. And it's kind of a chicken or the egg. We need more people uptown, more people living uptown, but we also have to have the businesses. So you have to, it's a balance. So we're working on that. We have this huge influx of residential development right now. We hope to see some of that bleed over into our uptown and in the surrounding areas. From the housing summit, we've talked about, how do we go 1 block outside of uptown, 2 blocks outside of uptown, and create housing for some of our residents. So these are just some examples of some of the data that we're going to be using as we grow this retail program. The last thing is we're also working on entrepreneur programming as well. A lot of you have attended the Brew. We're going to continue those. They've been great. As well as ICSC, which is the International Council of Shopping Centers, and Barbara Ann and I both have attended 2 of those trainings. We did the Vegas trade show, and then we did the Carolinas trade show in Charlotte. We will go back again next year to Vegas, hopefully. And that is where we are sitting one-on-one in meetings with the retailers. So we will have appointments and sit down, much similar to the things that Kelly and Lindsay used to do when they were meeting with events. So we're really excited about that. I did just want to tell you guys really quickly, remind you about our grant program that we opened up. It opened on April the 25th, and it will close on Monday, May 9th. We have 2 types of grants. The first one is the facade grant program. So anything on the outside of the building, we're going to do 10 of those for $5,000 each. It could be for new windows, it could be paint, new doors, a new sign, anything that you can see from outside of the building. And this is for all businesses located in the city of Greenwood, not just downtown. And then the second one is the digital marketing grant, and this one can be a little bit of everything. It's not just social media. It could be a new website. It could be a new point of sale system. I know Taylor at theirs has applied, and they're going to be looking to, I don't know if you go to theirs a lot, but they still have a pretty outdated system because, Mr. Bill's pretty tight, and he'll tell you he is. But Taylor wants to buy a new system so she can inventory and continue to grow their business. So, point of sale system, it can be digital marketing. It can be hiring someone to manage your Facebook for 6 months. I've been on the radio a couple of times this week. It could be, advertising with Sunny or Ann Eller or Magic, whichever. So we're real excited to get those grants. We're seeing them roll in already. It closes on Monday. If you know any businesses, please tell them to apply. Our hope is that we'll come back in the fall and do a second round of these. We want to get these first ones under our belt and see what the applications look like and what the needs are, and if we need to tweak those grants any. And I believe that is my last slide. It is. Are there any questions before I turn it over to James? No? Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Before I talk about our most recent industrial expansion announcement, I want to introduce new staff that have joined the County Economic Development Department, one of whom is here this afternoon, Jamie Doughton. If you'll stand. Jamie is our new County Public Information Officer. Yes, congratulations to her, and glad to have her on board at the county. She began her work with us in February. So the most recent addition to the team, Jamie was most recently the Director of Events and Children's Services for Prisma Health Midlands Foundation. And prior to that, some of you might have known her when she worked at the hospital at Self Regional Healthcare, where she was a marketing coordinator. So she has come back to Greenwood and joined our economic development staff, as has Billy Ray Morgan. And he has had a family emergency, unable to be here this afternoon. We look forward to you seeing his smiling face at the next meeting. Billy Ray, who many of you might know, he was the Deputy Director of Workforce Development for the Upper Savannah Council of Governments in SC Works. So Billy was already working with many of our existing industries, helping them find employees. So he will continue to work with them and their and our Greenwood Together partners with their workforce challenges, but now manage industrial projects, both for our expanding existing industries and for new companies looking at Greenwood. So he's responding to the request for information that we receive almost on a daily basis now. Billy has also been working with us, came in about halfway through our work with Simrise Pet Food, or Diana Pet Food, as you might know them. This company has a 15-year history here in Greenwood. They're one of our top 10 manufacturing employers, and this announcement is going to continue their growth with their headcount. They have greatly exceeded their past investment and job creation commitments, and this announcement will bring another $65.5 million of capital investment and 65 high-paying new jobs. Those 65 jobs will create an annual payroll of more than $4 million. When we talk about the economic impact of our events, there's also an impact of these high wages that are created by our expanding industries. That $65.5 million will almost double the investment in Diana Simrise's North American headquarters that is located here in Hodges. And it was about an 8-month process that we went through with this company. We talked about industrial recruitment. People want to see behind the scenes, how long does this take? And I would tell you this is one of the faster moving projects of the 8-month process prior to them getting the capital approved by corporate all the way through to incentive approval here at the local and state levels. We had 7 meetings on site with the company. And most important was a trip in January of this year to Cary, North Carolina, to an actual wastewater facility. It had the most similar technology, odor mitigation technologies, and similar process in place for us to go and see or smell for ourselves what was being proposed in Greenwood. Many of the technologies, we were in the middle of this plant and smelled nothing. So you think, well, I'm at a sewer plant, I'm going to smell something. It was no smell. Some of these same industry-leading technologies already have been implemented at Diana Simrise, and more are to come. Some are in the trial phase right now. They've seen a dramatic decrease in the odor emitted from the facility, and it will only continue to improve. By the time they add on to this facility and construct a new building, believe that by and large that smell will be contained. We want you to know, went through great due diligence with the company and a great partnership with them, make sure that there's measures for accountability for the continued effectiveness of that odor control. That company and their relatively new leadership team's been in place about 2 years, has delivered on every commitment that the county asked of them throughout this 8-month process. So we can only trust that that is going to continue, and we're excited about the growth that we will see here now through end of 2024, early 2025 is the schedule for that expansion. And that marks the second highest single investment in Greenwood County in almost 6 years. It's actually the highest announced investment by a manufacturer over that period. And it is also the second most jobs announced by a project in Greenwood since 2018. Why I talk about the significance of that project for Diana and Simrise Pet Food. So we talked about the high-paying jobs that Simrise will be creating over the next 5 years. With the average hourly wage for the jobs that we created in 2021 was $20.20 per hour, which was $1.30 higher than the county's average hourly wage in 2019. When we talk about the average hourly wage and our per capita income, that is for all Greenwood County residents, countywide, average across everyone. So what you're looking at right now are the annualized figures. Why these should be important to you is this was almost 7% increase from 2020 to 2021. Our per capita income has increased more than $10,000 in the past 9 years. As you can see, it's the first time in history there's been over $40,000. And this shows you that jump from 2020 to 21 in the hourly breakdown of that annual number you just saw. And it's the greatest year-over-year increase we've seen in 8 years. And why I point out per capita income rising in Greenwood is it's one of the truest measures of economic development success. When we talk about industrial recruitment, the point is to create the investment and the jobs. And those jobs and the payroll that it's creating leads to higher wages and improved quality of life in our community. So that creation of wealth really is the end game of economic development, and the rising per capita income is the truest measure of that for us. How we are going to continue our success in industrial recruitment, in addition to our workforce development efforts that Mr. Medford spoke about, is on product development. So we have to have product on the shelf or a site or a building for a company to locate in. So we want to tell you the latest on the product development front, and that's the Palmetto Sites program. This is a site certification initiative through the South Carolina Department of Commerce. In Greenwood, we have certified a large number of sites in years past, and this is the most recent. We have just completed Palmetto Sites for what we'll call the South Greenwood Industrial Park. It is approximately 270 acres is what you're looking at on that map there. And this is along bypass 225 going towards 221 in the direction of 96 from the CPW Operations Center. So that helps you place about where this is, the Pepsi bottling plant. Give you some landmarks. You're looking at now an outline of this process. So what does it mean to go through site certification? The request for information that I told you Billy Ray, our project manager, is filling out for us is just like if we receive it from a prospective company. All the information on this site. So that was submitted in early February. Then late February, we had a site and community readiness visit from the site location consultants that are conducting this evaluation. And then last week, we received a strategic development plan and a final report based on that evaluation that outlines the next steps and the due diligence phase that we hope to continue on with in June of this year, that ultimately in the next 12 months would lead to a Palmetto Sites designation. Why that designation is important is it sets it apart from other sites. So in the state building and site database, when state project managers, prospective companies, decision makers are looking for that product where they can locate their business, they can filter down to Palmetto Sites. So the sites that have already completed all the due diligence, they've had the inspections, and a company would know more what to expect than just a raw piece of land. This designation that our county-owned North Greenwood Industrial Park already has and was one of the first 10 in the state to receive. We would receive a flyer just like this that we already have on that park. We would receive that for our South Greenwood Park, and it would also get the special designation online, which is the picture on the right that you see. So that would help with filtering, getting past the filtering of the uncertified sites and getting us farther along in that industrial recruitment process. It's a game of elimination. And that momentum through the product development, workforce development that is created, we continue to see the success with our year-to-date metrics for 21-22 fiscal year is almost $150 million, 261 new jobs, and that's across 5 projects, including the Sunrise Diana Pet Food expansion announced 2 weeks ago. We have more news coming tomorrow at 10 a.m. So that will add to these numbers. We look forward to sharing that with you all. Not only will we continue this momentum by the initiatives that we've spoken about here, but also through attending site selector conferences. So you heard Laura, Barbara are going to retail conferences, meeting with prospective retailers for our communities. Well, how are we doing that with industries? And the most effective way is attending site selector conferences and meeting with them one-on-one. So I attended one in December of last year, attending another at the end of this month, and those relationships with site selectors are what get us the most leads, such as a request for information I received today directly from an industrial real estate brokerage. Because they know us, they've worked with us in Greenwood before, they send those opportunities directly to us that sometimes don't make it through the traditional process, through the state and our region, filtering down to us, having those relationships get those leads directly. So from the county, also an update on public transportation, which Jim said was one of the focus areas for workforce development, ensuring that transportation is not an obstacle for people getting to work. He referenced the expansion of the service area when the program began in July of 2021. Initially was a 2.5-mile service area from the courthouse that just included medical and essential shopping trips. And essential shopping meant groceries and pharmacies. When it was expanded in October of 2021, it went to a 4-mile service area and then included post-secondary education and employment. So getting to school and work, in addition to medical appointments, pharmacies, grocery stores. And to summarize the latest activity, the number of rides with our public transportation initiative that is facilitated through McCormick Area Transportation, we had more than 2,000 trips in the first quarter of 2022. And represents a 342% increase in 6 months. So the service area was expanded in October. In October of 2021, there were 199 trips logged with McCormick Area Transit in Greenwood. In April of 2022, there were 881 trips logged in Greenwood. That's the 342% increase. So we've seen great use of that system in the very beginning and since the expansion of the service area. And that was one of the reasons why Transportation Association of South Carolina presented an award to our county treasurer, who manages the financial side of this program for us. And that was in March of this year. She presented that award to county councils in recognition of their dedication to the transit community. So the county looks forward to continuing the public transportation program, is constantly evaluating the possibility of expanding that program even wider, so that now we are hitting Piedmont Tech. We're talking about getting to school and work. Of course, Lander is in that area, but the farther it goes, it expands, the more employers we can serve. And in the meantime, that's why Workforce Development Committee is working on the public-private option to serve any of those areas that are outside of that service territory. And that is everything for county economic development. Randy, you want to close out? Or you want to? Yes, ma'am, please.
It says there's an announcement tomorrow. How can we find out about it? What website is that?
Yes, it will be, Jamie is going to post it on our county website for us. It's going to be on the news section of the county website. Also, it's going to be on the Greenwood Together website. So we've added a news section there. It's greenwoodtogether.com. There's a section for news. It's where all of these industrial announcements, as well as our other partners' announcements, will be posted.
You can tell us now, Jamie. We promise we won't tell you.
Well, see, Tom is recording this and it's going to be posted online.
It's actually live streamed right now.
So who knows? Okay. But yes, it'll be another exciting announcement. And what's going to be exciting about this is it will be in outside of the normal areas of industrial investment. Let's put it that way. So we get asked a lot about. You like that? We get asked a lot about why our industry is investing in these areas and not other areas. Well, a lot of it has to do with product and workforce availability as to why they're locating in one specific spot. But this time we're going to get outside of that a bit. So look out for that tomorrow.
James,
Julie.
Can you put back to the slide about the increase in the MAP rides?
Yeah.
So you were talking fast. So what was you were talking about the increase 300-something%. What were you saying the number of trips? You said something about April 2022, which is not quarter one, so you lost there. Quarter one,
Yes.
January through March.
That's because I got new numbers as I was putting the presentation together. Yes.
So this was quarter one, and how does that compare maybe to like the
So-
last quarter of 21? Maybe you don't have that number, but
I don't have
go over
the.
it one more time.
I don't have
I'm
the last
curious.
quarter of No, I don't have the last quarter of 21 in front of me. I was trying to summarize it. Instead of giving you month by month numbers, I was trying to do a summary. So it's more than 2,000 trips in the first quarter of this year. But the 342% increase came from a comparison of a month to month comparison. So October was 199 trips. The month of April, after first quarter closed, the most recent number is 881 trips. So comparing the 199 in October of 21 to the 881 trips in just the month of April was a 342% increase over that 6 month time. Yes, see how that can be confusing. I first had numbers for January, February, and March, and April's numbers had not come in yet, but I asked for those today and got those as I was preparing the presentation. So.
How many of the rides are in the expanded area? I can't remember exactly when you guys expanded the
It
radius.
depends on October. A significant number of them are, because you can see from October to November there's a significant increase. I can tell you some of the numbers, James, is there's a 28% on average month-over-month increase from July 21 to April 22. There's a over 900% increase from July to April. So So,
Is a lot of that school and month? I mean, I've seen a lot of people in school and month.
Yeah, we know that they're standing.
What's the current diameter?
8 mile diameter, 4 mile radius.
That's great.
There's standing appointments for dialysis. There's people going to work at Publix, going to work at Velux, going to class at Piedmont Tech. Just some of the examples that I can recall of who's using that. And they do have a breakout of what's within the expanded area. I just don't have that number with me.
And it started, her trip was like 50 cents one way, and now it's $1, right?
It's $1.
Right? So do you think they'll see an increase as gas increases? Or?
So that question was asked of our county treasurer when she presented to county council, and her response was that there was no plans for an increase in the cost per ride. Any other question? Good question. Julie, thanks for getting me straight on the numbers. Significant increase, but just had to say it the right way. Any other questions? Thank you all for being here and hearing the latest about Greenwood together. Look forward to seeing you at the next meeting.